Hello again, it's still NTV at 1. I'm Andrew Chamagdan. We're live from Kampala's Swene Conference Center. Now, in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic imposed a lockdown, there is an increasing concern about the fate of children at home. Most are usually struggling to access mental health facilities and the likes. Today, joining us is Timothy Opombo, the Executive Director of AfriChild, to talk to us about mental health with children. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, first paint for us a picture. What is happening in the wake of COVID-19? How is the situation of children and mental health in the nation?
Thank you very much, Moses. Andrew, excuse me. So I think we look at the current situation, but before we even look at the current situation, I would like to use the term BC, before COVID, what was happening with children and mental health. So we do have a challenge as a country, and this challenge speaks to Uganda but speaks to sub-Saharan Africa, of very limited mental health services for children, and yet we do have growing need for these services. Now, AC after COVID or DC during COVID, children have experienced a lot of uncertainty, as we all know. There's been a lot of domestic violence happening in homes, and this domestic violence has a direct impact on children. The fact that schools have been closed also speaks to the challenges that children are facing, because many of them are not sure when school is going to open, and while some may be accessing online services, a number are not. And this situation has disrupted their lifestyle. They have seen their livelihoods of their parents being disrupted, or their caregivers, and so this has affected their mental well-being. So we're talking about increased stress levels for children. We're speaking about depression. We're speaking about mood swings, lack of sleep. So these are all symptoms that children right now are experiencing. But beyond that is also the high level of violence that is affecting the children right now.
At home.
At home. The figures that we are getting from the research that we are doing is extremely disturbing. I don't know if you saw the headline in the Daily Monitor last week. 2,300 girls have been made pregnant during this time. Last week, my team was in Pade, and the probation officer reported 802 cases.
Those are huge
of girls. These are huge numbers. We are speaking about the risk of losing a generation during this time.
COVID-19.
And so the impact of whatever is happening on the way children think, the way they feel, and then the way they act, which is the mental health, has devastating consequences for their future and for their growth.
So how do we fix this? Where do we go from here?
I think first of all, we need to recognize that this is happening. We need to recognize that it's not just about livelihoods. Livelihoods is important, but we must recognize that children, unless given the attention they deserve during this time, are likely to fail to reach their intended potential. So it is important, therefore, that as parents, as caregivers, we are cognizant that this situation is not just affecting us as adults, but has a direct implication on our children. And so we need to pay attention to the signs and symptoms of mental health disorder.
Like?
We need to look at our children seemingly stressed, our children getting depressed. Are we seeing mood swings? Are we seeing sadness in children? And we shouldn't ignore this, especially if it is sustained or is reoccurring. It is important that we begin to seek help. And the first line of help is we, the parents, the adults. And so we need to make sure that we are comforting our children. We are explaining what is happening in this situation. We should be the source of hope for these children. And where possible, we shouldn't at any point paint a griming picture to children. We need to provide hope to these children.
Thank you so much. Timothy Opombo, the Executive Director of AfriChild. You and I need to help our children become stronger mentally. Now let's take a look at the international stories.